Hey there, welcome to Mission Forward. I'm your host, Carrie Fox. You might know that I write a weekly column on communications and life in addition to hosting this podcast. And on this season of the podcast, I'm lifting up a few of my essays here as short form episodes of the show. If you like what you hear, head over to mission.partners and sign up to get these insights delivered right to your inbox each and every Wednesday morning. Now, onto this week's column, Find Your Core. Every year around this time, the demand for fitness memberships skyrocket. And for good reason. The start of a new calendar year brings with it renewed commitments to our personal health and well-being. Finally, I'm going to get that core I've always dreamed of. But just as the desire for personal health and well-being are about to hit their annual high, you likely already know what happens next. According to USA Today, more than half of gym memberships go unused. That's upwards of $1 billion on wasted fitness memberships every year. What happens and why? Year after year is the story the same. Inherently, we understand the importance of caring for our bodies, but every year we bow out before real change has a chance to kick in. Could it be that committing to our core requires facing our greatest weakness head on? For many of us, is that just too hard to do? I tend to think that many of us run our organizations like we run our bodies. We have the best of intentions to make them operate at their highest levels, but when it comes to strengthening our core, many of us get distracted along the way. Because just like our bodies, facing our places of greatest weakness can feel like our highest priority, just up until it becomes our most daunting task. Something like this. Take a nonprofit who adopts a bold strategic plan and commits to a focused set of activities. But 6 months in, their focus is distracted by other pressing activities and their core, once at its strongest, is weakened. Or a foundation who makes a bold commitment to shift resources to underinvested communities, but still relies on the same tools for their grant making, reverting to old practices. Their core philosophy, once strong, is weakened. Finding our core and sticking to it is one of the most challenging and essential tasks we face as leaders. But here's the deal. If our bodies are built on a shaky core, our lives will suffer as a result. It's no different for our organizations. Build a house on a shaky foundation, and you are bound to have bigger problems down the road. So if a strong core is essential to long-term health, then maybe it's time to think about your work through this lens. First, what will it take to strengthen your core? What is central to your approach as a business, a team, a leader? What values do you hold dear? And what is essential to protect and preserve? In other words, what would you do tomorrow and the day after that, even if you didn't have the resources to do it? That will help you refocus on your core. Then ask yourself, what's a distraction from your core? Who or what are you not? What will you never become? What will you refuse to do, even if you are handed a $100 million check to expand your impact? Knowing who you are and who you are not is essential to be able to stay focused on your core. Bottom line, you can't have it all. We can't expect that strong body without putting in the work, just like we can't commit to a bold plan or a set of clear values and then decide to compromise them. So it really comes down to knowing clearly and definitively who you are and who you're not at your core. And that brings us to the end of this short form episode of Mission Forward. If you heard something that's going to stick with you, drop me a line at carrie@mission.partners and let me know what's got you thinking. And definitely check out some of our longer form shows on the power of communications. Mission Forward is produced with the support of Sadie Lockhart in association with True Story FM. Engineering by Pete Wright. If your podcast app allows for ratings and reviews, I hope you will consider doing just that for this show. But the best thing you can do to support Mission Forward is simply share the show with a friend or a colleague. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you next time.